Hey everybody, it's the Dynamite Show. Paul Fontaine, Jeff Hawkins here on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. Happy to see we got some people in the chat already. And so thank you for joining us here on the channel just 20 minutes after Dynamite ends, as we always are. And for those listening on the Fight Game Media free audio feed, I want to thank you all as well. Jeff, last week,
what? 20 minutes after it's supposed to end.
Yeah, like 7 minutes after it ended. 20 minutes after the scheduled end of the show. We'll get into that. But last week, what we recorded Wednesday night, as we always do, and then Thursday, there's obviously huge news hit. Not really AEW related. Well, not at all AEW related, but there was some AEW news coming out of it. And so Hulk Hogan, as I'm sure everyone listening knows, passed away. There was, so I have not seen or heard any WWE programming since that, and I haven't listened to any reviews of anything. So I have no idea what WWE did, but I do know that AEW had Tony Schiavone on Collision do what I thought was a very nice and appropriate thing near the beginning of the show, basically just telling us, we were sad to learn about the loss of Hulk Hogan. He was a big part of wrestling on this network, put WCW and the Monday Night Wars on the map. And when someone passes away, it's very hard on the family. So we want you all to remember that, remember the family at this difficult time. And I thought it was very classy, very nice. No, they didn't have to do it unless they were told by the network to do it. I don't know. But I thought it was, like for a guy that never worked for the company, never had any affiliation whatsoever with them, I thought it was more than enough. And then I hear that Tony Khan got a ton of criticism for not doing enough, for not tweeting about it. And I just thought it was ridiculous. Like, I don't understand why. Like, if he was going to say anything, it probably would have been negative. And I wouldn't even have faulted him for it. So the fact that he said nothing was probably better than what he would have said if he would have said what he really felt, is my guess. And negative in regards to, obviously the comment, the stuff that he said on tape and, some of the, whatever. Didn't have the best reputation in the world the last 10 years of his life, sadly.
I think Tony Schiavone did exactly what he should have done. I think tying it in
should have, or I don't even think he needed to. Like, I'm glad he did.
Well,
I shouldn't even say I'm glad he did. I don't even care, to be honest, but I was impressed by what he did. I'll put it that way.
Let's put it this way. I think for what Hogan did for the Turner networks in terms of viewership, I think it was apt to do something. Mm-hmm. To mention it, to do whatever. I thought Tony Schiavone gave a great eulogy, and I think it was also part and parcel of some of the pro AEW fans being absolute. Look, I don't like Hulk Hogan's family, but at the same time, they're grieving. Now's not the time to spike the football in certain aspects. There's nothing wrong with saying some of the negative aspects of it, but I think both companies have handled deaths of people that haven't worked there very well. Like, if you recall, Michael Cole gave a pretty good couple of minutes to talking about Jay Briscoe when he passed away. And Jay Briscoe never set foot in WWE.
No. And so Sabu, Pat McAfee gave a really nice one for Sabu.
Sabu did. I think everybody's been handling this well. And I think
actually Sabu worked for the company, so that's not fair. But
that's fine. But still, it's one of those things where, he didn't work very long for either company, to be honest with you. But it's one of those things where everybody just needs to settle their tea kettle, to quote Natty. Just shut up occasionally about your little tribalist dumb crap. Realize that there's more to life than your professional wrestling fandom, and let people handle it how they want to handle it. And does Tony have to do something? No, not at all, not in the least. But he did, and he gave some time and it was appropriate and it was handled well. So
when I heard that Tony Khan was getting criticism over this, I actually thought that he was being criticized for being too nice. Like, believe it or not. Like, I think there's people there that would have wanted him, I don't know, like, what they would say on air, but maybe say, not like, "Oh, good riddance, the Hulkster's dead," but something like, like, I don't even know what you could have said. Like, there's nothing you could say if you were trying to be negative that wouldn't make you come off really badly. Like,
if I recall, also, didn't Tony Khan ban his wife?
He banned him
to a Dynamite and him. Yes.
Yeah, like at one point, somebody asked him about Hogan at one point, and he said, there's not a lot of people that I would not listen to or not consider bringing in, but Hulk Hogan is one of them. Like, he said that at one point. I don't remember when, and don't ask me to find the article, but he definitely said that. And obviously the reason why is, the much publicized racism. But yeah, if he would have said anything negative, I mean, you're just, number one, you're drawing attention to the comments, and believe it or not, and this is very difficult for people in the bubble. There's a lot of normal people that aren't even aware of the stuff that Hulk Hogan did 10 years ago.
I'm gonna up that, Paul.
Okay.
I'm gonna say most people don't know about that stuff, because listening to people in my non-wrestling podcast world that I listen to talk about Hulk Hogan and what a part of their childhood's 80s wrestling was and stuff like that, I would say a good 65 to 75% of people don't know about the Hogan racism comments. Like, my mom knows who Hulk Hogan was, had no idea about those comments. Didn't understand why there wasn't more of a big to-do, actually, because of his stature in 80s pop culture. And I had to explain to her because it went out of the news fairly quick, if you think about it.
Yeah, Warrior and Savage got more legs.
And let me just state this. The classy thing to do would be to tie it to Hogan's importance to the Turner Broadcasting family, and they did it. So, everybody's just trying to get wolf tickets, I think, for the most part.
My own family. So I when I heard the news, I mentioned it to my wife, and because we were on holidays, and she was like, "Oh, that's that's sad," or whatever, like, and then my daughter sends me a message later in the day, and she's like, "Oh, sorry for your loss, father," and she sent it to our family group chat, and I'm like, "What? Like, are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Hogan?" And then I'm like, "I don't even like Hulk Hogan." Like, I just kind of said it like that. And then
go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, then my son pipes in and says, "Oh yeah, he wasn't well liked." And then I'm thinking, okay, my son's aware of this stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, you know about that stuff?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, like, I know Andre the Giant had some mean things to say about him, and people didn't like working with him and stuff like that." And I'm like, "Oh, my son's talking about stuff from like 40 years ago, like politics." He had no idea. So I mentioned it in the chat. I'm like, "Oh, this is what he did," and they're like, "Ew," like, they had no idea. And it's like, but they knew Hulk Hogan. Like, my kids have never seen Hulk Hogan, but they know of him. They know who he is. And they know me as a wrestling fan probably had some sort of feelings about him. They were surprised that I didn't like him, but I've never liked Hulk Hogan. So that's like, it's got nothing to do with the racist comments like that. That makes me have a negative opinion about Terry Bollea. And Hulk Hogan is a character, and I was just never a fan.
I'm the same way, Paul, because WWF never came south to DC where I was. It was because Flair was the man where I grew up. So it was one of those things. But people who know that I follow wrestling or podcasts about wrestling always send me these clips about Hulk Hogan and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think people under the age of 40, and this is kind of the gist I got from talking to my partner on my other podcast. People under the age of 40 who may know something about wrestling or may have followed wrestling think that Hulk Hogan is a system quarterback, and that if you plug in anybody else into that, if you had given Savage that push, if you had given Roddy Piper that push, it'd be the same thing. They don't understand how synonymous the words pro wrestling and Hulk Hogan are to the 1980s boom, so to speak. And yes, you can have Dave go, well, he was no Jim Londos or whatever, and that's fine. You can say all those things, but in terms of Gen X culture and the 1980s, when you say pro wrestling, somebody always goes, oh, you mean like Hulk Hogan?
Yeah. You want to know something funny? I didn't listen to any wrestling podcasts while I was on holiday, so I'm still catching up. And I haven't listened to any of the stuff from after Hogan died. So I haven't heard anyone's thoughts. I haven't heard Brian, I haven't heard Dave, nothing. Haven't read, nothing. But as I'm listening to these podcasts, and this is going back a couple weeks before Hogan died, almost every show I listen to, Hulk Hogan's name is mentioned. Like, and it's not like they're talking about the Bubba thing where he said he was on death's door and people were just, it's not that. It's just all kinds of just random references. Oh, Hogan this, Hogan that. It's like you cannot talk about pro wrestling and not mention Hulk Hogan. Whether
Becky Lynch is literally doing a Hulk Hogan tribute act almost.
Well, I didn't even see anybody mention this. I think it was Evolution, or it might have been the next night on Raw. She was wearing red and yellow.
Red and yellow because somebody
Becky
held up
Hogan.
a sign that said Becky Hogan.
Yeah. And that's before Hogan died. So that wasn't a tribute. And then, things like, like what you just talked about, like Hogan this, Hogan that, Hogan, and I mean, his roots are everywhere. I mean, they talked about him on the Speaking of Strong Style, which I'm going to step on their toes in a minute. I'd already warned you about this, but they talked about Hogan because he was integral to the formation of the IWGP title. He was huge in Japan. He was huge in the States. Again, I, as a kid, as a teenager in the 80s, and we're around the same age. I'm a couple years older than you, but I certainly was aware of Hulk Hogan. I knew how big he was. I wanted to like him, but I just didn't. Like I always rooted for the heels to beat him. I was getting WWF. I just was like, oh, hey, there's Paul Orndorff. Go Paul. Oh, there's Randy Savage. Go Savage. Go whoever. And when Andre beat him, I cheered. I threw my drink up in the air. I made a mess. I was like so happy when Hulk Hogan lost. And then I became a fan when he got into the NWO, and then later on when he came back to WWF, I was a fan briefly. And then, I went back to not liking him when he went to TNA and then all the other stuff. So, and Greg brings it up as well. He's the go-to for casual, non-casual fans. If you're a national company, you look stupid. Not at the very least acknowledging it. How deep you go is up to you. Exactly.
Yeah, I think AEW hit the perfect note.
If they had just put up a graphic, Hulk Hogan,
yes,
1944 to 20 or 1954 to 2025, that would have been fine. I would have had no issue with it at all. They would have got criticized, but I wouldn't have criticized them. What they did, I was surprised. I actually said in the Discord, because people were saying, oh, they should do a tribute show to Hulk Hogan. I was like, are you nuts? Of course they're not going to do a tribute show to Hulk Hogan. But I said, maybe Tony will say a few words. And then someone brought up, oh, well, if he says what he said on Twitter, he might get in trouble. Because I don't know if you saw it, but somebody said, oh, condolences, Tony, on the loss of your good friend and work colleague, Hulk Hogan. And he's like, I was a work colleague. I wouldn't say I was a good friend. That's all he says. And then he responded later and says, I just have to clarify. I didn't mean to say anything mean. We got along. It was all fine. He did some stuff after we worked together that I don't want to talk about. And rest in peace and condolences to the family. He's a class dude. He's a class dude. All right. I also want to talk about something else. Sorry, Jeff, I'm sure you're not going to have much to add to this, and I'll try to make it brief.
I'm going to have literally nothing to add.
Okay.
Roriano is not in this tournament, and that makes it a joke of a tournament.
So I'm going to say some brief stuff about the G1 because I'm watching it, and it is AEW adjacent. You've got Konosuke Takeshita in it. Gabe Kidd, who is all over AEW the last month, was in it, but he got injured, and he had to forfeit all his matches, so that sucks because I was looking forward to seeing his matches. But if you want a real in-depth review of this, check out Speaking of Strong Style tomorrow night on this very Fight Game Media Network, and also the audio feed. Jeremy Feinstone and Steve Conway do a great job recapping this stuff and talking about it. But I just wanted to say I've watched the first 3 nights. 2 nights of A block, or 3 nights of A block, 2 nights of B block. There's a log jam at the top of the A block. Oiwa, Bolton, Oleg, Evil, Taichi, and Yota Tsuji all have 4 points through 3. I'm like a week behind. So my news is out of date, but Jeremy and Steve will catch you right up to date. And some of the matches I've liked were Gabe Kidd and Konosuke Takeshita from night 1 is the best match I've seen in the tournament so far. And honestly, it's going to be tough to beat. Taichi and Hiroshi Tanahashi had a great match in the main event of night 1. Konosuke Takeshita and El Phantasmo on night 2. Yuya Uemura and Taichi. So Taichi, 2 straight great matches. And then and actually a third one, Taichi and David Finlay on night 3. So honestly, I think Taichi's been the standout in the early part of the tournament anyway. So just wanted to bring that up. And again, Konosuke Takeshita's had a couple great matches too. He's only wrestled twice that I've seen. So you can check that out on New Japan World. And if you're waiting for AEW to update you on what's going on, good luck. So that said, I got through that in what, like 60 seconds? Pretty good. Want to talk about Dynamite?
More than the G1, yes.
All right. Fernando's been watching too, and he loves it. All excellent. I assume the ones I talked about, because not every match in G1 has been excellent. Let's go crazy here. Let's not go crazy here. I just want to say, like, overall, I really like this show a lot. There was one notable exception that I'm sure we're going to agree on.
I found the show odd. I'm just going to put it that way. I'm still one of those people. I think for a world heavyweight title match, it should go on last.
Well, I know why they did it the way they did
it. I can explain why they did it. This isn't hard. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's still just kind of weird that it's like you have the world title match to then build up to a contenders match the next week, which, okay, that's cool. I thought this crowd was kind of dead.
At times, yeah.
Especially for the first hour, if you consider that at times, until we had the schmaz in the world title match.
6, you know, like it's the 5th night of 6 in the same building. That's gonna happen, right? Which
if it's the same people over and over again, yes. But I was assuming that it wasn't going to be the same crowd every night too.
Well, I've seen Jushin Liger at every show.
All right, but still, it was odd. I thought at times. Yeah. I mean, we'll get into.
Have you noticed a change in the way they're promoting stuff?
How so?
A lot more video packages, and they hammered home this Thursday Collision. Like they've never promoted a special time and date for Collision like they did tonight.
I think they want a rating for it,
of course,
because well, but you know, it's one of those things where it's also just hammering it home. Hey, we're not going to be on against SummerSlam. You need to watch tomorrow, type of a thing.
Yeah, and normally, like, they'll mention it once or twice, but they mentioned it a bunch of times, and they also promoted like a bunch of matches for it. They aired like a 2-minute video package for what I assume will be the main event tomorrow night. Dustin Rhodes and Kyle Fletcher. Although, given tonight, maybe it'll be the top of the second hour. But I mean, the reason they did it is because the match could go an hour. So if the match goes an hour, then you got to cancel whatever you had lined up for after it. That's why they do it that way. I mean, they've always done it that way. They either kick off the show or they start the second hour with it. How can you do? Well, although with Tony and his freaking overruns, yeah, they could start at 10 to 9 and, you know, and go to like 10, you know, like, but yeah, so I enjoyed like almost everything on this show. And again, the one notable exception that we'll get to, that I have no idea what the hell is going on there, but I do have a theory. And my theory is clearly wrong, but I'll see what you think of it when we get to it. And I'm sure you know what we're talking about.
No.
So they opened down with a full rundown of the card, again with the promotion. Like they've done this a couple times, like they did it last week, and and they used to do it all the time. And tonight they ran down, okay, here's what you're going to see. And it's great because they always have the biggest audience at the beginning of the show. So it makes a lot of sense. Then they did a video package for Hangman and Mox, and it was like 2 minutes long. It was great. They had a narrator talking about it. He used the phrase "for the Hangman," calling him the Hangman. So I think Brian Alvarez wrote it. I'm not positive because he's the only other guy I've ever heard constantly calling him the Hangman. And Mox emphasized in here, although I guess this was like just clips from promos, but he pointed out that he's never lost a war of attrition, which is a line that he goes back to all the time. And we see how that would play out later on. And key to note, and we'll talk about this, everyone banned from ringside. And I told you last week, there is no chance that anyone is going to interfere in this match. If Tony Khan says there's no interference, there's no interference. This is twice now. All in with the Continental title match, and now this. I am losing faith in Tony when it comes to Stips. The shows are great. The booking's good. All that. I'm not going to take that away, but I'm not buying his Stips anymore.
Well, also, I mean, you remember there was that period. I don't know the exact years, but you'd watch WWE television, and every match would be somebody's second would interfere. It would cause a distraction. There'd be a roll up. It'd be 1, 2, 3, et cetera, et cetera. That's what a lot of these endings felt like to me tonight.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So we open with the Outrunners and the Young Bucks, and the Outrunners got new music, which I hate. It's not that I hate the music. I'll probably get used to it, but I love their old music and I didn't want it to change. And then the Bucks were out and they did a thing on the Chiron where it said talent name, social media, and stat or whatever. And it's like to play off like somebody screwed up, but I think they did it on purpose. And someone told me this was actually a rib because WWE made a mistake like this with Cody, which I probably haven't seen. But it came off like amateurish, but
I thought this was just to kind of give them the quote unquote enhancement talent.
Yeah, like it was, and they were pissed off, like it was like they knew about it and they were mad. So it was like, or it was someone in production, just disrespecting them because they're no longer EVP. So everyone feels, oh, the Bucks are fair game now. We can insult them all we want. And you got baby faces and heels doing it to the Bucks up and down the show. So. It was a stupid little thing that was, pretty much forgotten about. They did inset promos during the intros, which, I mean, if you want to get me to stop skipping intros, air more inset promos. I'll watch these entrances. So yeah, it was good. And the Outrunners put over winning a bunch of money in that $400,000 challenge on the weekend.
We're rich.
Yeah, we're
rich. They say, yeah,
which is great. It's somebody's actually putting it over. So this match, I really got nothing to say about the match because I mean it was awesome. It was the most old school tag team match you've ever seen until an hour later when we saw the exact same match.
That first segment was pure 80s cheese, and I say that lovingly. And then it turned into a Bucks super kick party.
Yeah, they had
we went home.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we had the Bucks super kick party in the middle, and then we went home with the false finishes and whatnot.
Yeah, and they teased the hot tag to Turbo, who I will continue to say, and I've said it for months, and I'll continue to say it till it's not true. He's got like the best hot tag in wrestling. And they teased it, and they did the spot where, like one of the Bucks pulls him off the apron just as he's about to make the tag, and then they tease it. And then they finally make the tag, and he does his comeback, and they're about to hit the son of a bitch elbow, and you see Nick Jackson just waiting. Like the camera angle was bad because you knew it was coming, and it would have been better if you didn't know it was coming. But he's waiting, and finally they're about to hit the elbow, and then he super kicks their elbows apart, which was great. And then eventually they did hit it. And then they got the near fall, and then the Bucks, like you said, it was a super kick party, and they were about to hit Total Recall, and they broke it up with a super kick party that finally hit the elbow, but then eventually the Bucks took over, and they won with the what do they call it, the TK driver. I wrote down 2K driver. I've been watching too much WWE, but it's the TK driver, and I thought I love this match, and and it's pretty clear we're going to get FTR and the Bucks in the finals of this tournament, and that's fine. That's exactly what it should be. So,
Oh, we're
Great.
not gonna get you're no longer on the mystery team being
No, there's no mystery team. We got the
Oh,
brackets.
there isn't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got the brackets. So I mean, I thought it was gonna be maybe that's where we're gonna see the mystery team debut is in the finals.
Interesting. Should they have won?
Outrunners or the Bucks?
Yeah, the Bucks.
I mean, it depends. Like I thought they were telling the story that they're down and out, but they've won 2
That's
weeks
what
in a
I
row.
thought too. I thought they were going to tell the story that they're
Yeah.
down and out, and then the Outrunners get screwed by FTR. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, but no,
And
I mean,
I thought that'd make a stronger story actually, because I want to see. The whole point of this Bucks being down and out is to heighten the being down and out.
yeah.
So we need to keep on making them more and more miserable to see how they then react, type of a thing. And I thought the Bucks should have lost here. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, Jason agrees with you.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, it probably doesn't matter, but because Tony's gonna get his banger.
We're gonna get a banger. Yeah, it's all about. Do you want to know the horrible truth, or do you want to see me hit some dingers?
You know what else we're gonna get? You know what else we're gonna get is we're gonna get the Bucks and Okada against the Outrunners and Swerve Strickland. Which you remember that cartoon that they did before that NASCAR race where you had you said it was the wackiest crew of people in a car, and it was Swerve driving with the Outrunners in the back. It was like, little did we know that,
and Renee in the back seat, right? Yeah.
Well, there was some conjecture on whether that was Renee or Harley or Anna Jay.
Or Anna Jay,
yeah, because one of them, I think it was Anna Jay, was at the Speedway.
Anna
so
was,
so it might have actually been Anna, but and then there was somebody. Oh, Tony Schiavone was in there too. So
I need Swerve to have some 80s gear though, man.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that would be funny. You can come out dressed as Rick James or something. But we had so after the match, Okada's music hits. And I think it was his old music, or at least they had the coin drop at the start of it anyways. And so he comes in, they do a 3-on-2 beatdown of the Outrunners, and then Swerve comes out to make the save. But before he comes out, Nana comes out dancing with his coffee, and everyone just stood there waiting. But the Outrunners are like the smartest baby faces in the world, because while they're waiting, the Outrunners kick ass. And so it actually worked. And so they kick ass, and then eventually Swerve gets in there, and somehow it ends up with Okada 3-on-1 against the Outrunners and Swerve. And
Okada's never seen a 1980s wacky punch spot from baby faces, has he?
No, and he just sold this comically, like it was. He's just taking like bumps for the Outrunners. Okada taking bumps for the Outrunners. It's like, well, okay.
He needed to do a flare flop at some point.
Yeah.
That's
oh gosh, that would have been awesome. So eventually, he gets out of the ring, and Swerve does a dive and lays them all out. And the Bucks and Okada are laid out outside the ring, and Swerve and Nana and the Outrunners are all celebrating together. And man, what a crew that is! Yeah, so we're gonna see that 6-man possibly next week. So that'll be fun. Ricochet shows up, or sorry, Mark Briscoe's doing a promo for his match with Ricochet and about MJF, and he asks Renee, "Have you seen MJF tonight?" And before anyone can answer, Ricochet shows up and he says, "Shut up, Mark. Don't worry about MJF. Worry about me. We're gonna send you packing out of Chicago in a coat of your own blood, just like I did at Revolution." And then Mark says, "Listen to me. Let me forewarn you. I'm a different animal and a different man than I was at Revolution." And he's not even doing his voice anymore.
No.
He's morphing into Jay is what's going on here. And he said, "Tonight, I'm going to whip your ass, but it's a fraction of what I got for MJF." Bishop Khan interrupts and he says, "Show Ricochet some respect." He's like Brian Keith. Man.
He turned in Brian Keith. Okay, good. I know.
Brian Keith's sitting in the back. He's like, "Fuck."
No, Brian Keith was at like Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It goes, "That's gimmick infringement." You need
except they got a bigger, badder dude doing my line. So then Ricochet says, "None of that matters. I'll see you later tonight, loser." So cute little segment. And then
segment's fine, but the problem is, and I'm jumping ahead here just a little.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
They absolutely spoiled the ending of this match with the Hangman promo.
Yeah. Sadly, but and also Ricochet put over that a loser was going to fight in the main event. Although this is like 2 weeks in a row he's won in the main event on Dynamite, so maybe he's not a loser. Excalibur recapped what happened last week with the Hurt Syndicate and MJF, and then they cut to MJF, who they had promised would be here. And then he says, "I'm here from Happy Gilmore 2," which I thought meant he was on the set, but I think he just meant like I'm in the movie. And then he says, "There's some scuttlebutt that the Hurt Syndicate is in trouble." And just then Shelton Benjamin walks out of the dressing room. And he says, "Hey, Shelton, about last week. I'm so sorry about Bob's action. That made it really awkward for us, but we got to get Montel together, and me, you, and him, we're going to focus and strategize." And then Shelton says, "MVP isn't here because he's disgusted with MJF." And he's like, "Oh, Max, by the way, do you have the time?" And Max is like, "No, I gave you my watch." And he says, "Oh, this watch?" He says, "It's a nice watch." He says, "It's the nicest watch I ever seen from Temu." He says, "You think I'm so stupid? I don't know the difference between a knockoff and a Rolex? Well, thanks to your show of generosity, we've been on to you the whole time. MVP stuck his neck out for you. You and your cheap-ass watch need to get out of here before you end up in a pool of your own piss. And as far as the Hurt Syndicate, you are out." And he gives him a thumbs down and goes back to the room, and MJF is all mad. And he's like, "Get out of my face." And when this segment was over, I am 1,000% convinced that this is all a ruse. And the Hurt Syndicate is going to fuck Mark Briscoe next week.
I did not like this beat all that much. I don't like them saying that MJF is a fraud in terms of being rich and stuff. I don't think that hits well. I think they should have taken another tack, but yes.
And the way Max sold it, it was like he's not denying it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, so you're just, I think me. No, you need to give Max that credibility that he has money and all that other stuff, and he was trying to use that money to then influence getting into the Hurt Syndicate. I just did not like that beat at all. I get it, but it's they're going way too hard in this, and it's a ruse.
Yeah, and especially when the announcers are figuring out what's going on, it's like, okay, if they're figuring it out, then this is all, they're just making it too obvious.
There's a way to do this and not be so heavy-handed at it too, and I think that's my problem with it just a little bit.
So then we got I swear to God, this got to be one of the worst segments in the history of Dynamite. Like this Tony Schiavone interview with Christian. So Tony Schiavone's in the ring and he says, "It all in, a lot of things happened that had the wrestling world on his ear." So he introduces Christian Cage and he immediately gets a huge pop. And he comes into the ring and he says, "The patriarchy was dismantled and Adam Copeland came out and told you to find yourself. So what's your reaction?" And he says, "Tony, my name is Christian Cage and and they bleep out asshole. And the fans start cheering wildly at this. And then they start chanting asshole. Then he says, "Now I'm the type of asshole that's numb to the world and everything in it." They don't bleep him there.
They don't bleep that asshole, no.
Yeah, but then they bleeped him later when he said it. So it's really
weird.
The
next time they did, yes.
Yes. So he says, I was obsessed with becoming the AEW World Champion. At Revolution, I walked into LA ready to fulfill my destiny. And I'm going to point out here, and I won't mention it every time it happens, but he just randomly, every once in a while, just stops talking and looks off at some random person that wasn't saying anything and says, "Shut up and let me conduct my business." Meanwhile, the fans were not heckling him. They were not cheering things unless he was hearing something that we weren't.
There's at least two of the times he did it where there was a heckle, and I heard it, and it's one of those things where he got thrown off by it or something.
Well, my theory was, spoiler alert, after this interview, he gets two chairs, one to each side of his head from Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne, which they didn't hit him at all, but whatever. He got so concussed from this double chair shot that it screwed up the promo that he had beforehand.
Okay.
So that's my theory. Obviously not true. But yeah, so anyways, but it ruined the promo, like, because he kept stopping and starting again. And then to top it off, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but this was going on all night, and it may have just been TSN, or it may have even just been like literally my PVR, but I was having audio video issues all night. Like the video was jumpy and the audio was jumpy. So like I was having a hard time making out what people were saying at times, because they were like, it would like skip and then it would like fast forward and then it would skip, and it was really weird, and it was going on all night. I posted a short clip of it in the Discord so people could see what I was talking about. And it didn't happen on Max and it didn't happen on TNT, but it was either TSN or it was literally just my PVR. You know, maybe there's just something going on with my internet or something. But yeah, so anyways, so between that and Christian constantly stopping and starting, it was really hard to follow what was going on. But he says, I stepped through those ropes. I hit a picture perfect spear, but then I got caught up. Then I got up and caught a glimpse of my past for one split second. I became an asshole with feelings, and it cost me everything. The days and the weeks that passed, things just kept getting louder and louder, to the point that my own family was questioning me. I didn't realize that your nuts dropped and you finally stood up to me, but you haven't earned the right to question Christian Cage. When it comes to this business, I've spent more money on rental cars making towns than either of you have made in your entire career. I didn't stick to the plan because I didn't think you were competent enough to pull it off, so I took a risk. What would you know about taking risks, riding my coattails while I made enemies with the things I said and did? There's a lineup of people waiting to maim me for what I've done. And then they pointed out he stopped here again. Fans started chanting, "You deserve it," after cheering him earlier. He says, as for you, Adam Copeland, I heard what you said a couple weeks ago when you reminded me of the things I said and did to you. How I said I'd snap your neck and make you cripple, or how I said I'd take special care of your wife. Even the things I said about your mother. And he says, are they really that bad? You're not going to come out here and act like you don't understand the game within the game. You're an opportunist. You said some unsavory things to get to the top. When you look at your bank accounts and the accomplishment, your head rests pretty easy on that Alaskan king, doesn't it? You told me to go find myself. Well, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But I do know this. You and I are so different, but somehow, Adam, we're still the same. And then Tony's just baffled by all this. And he says, well, where does this stand with the patriarchy? Christian says, the patriarchy embarrassed me at All In when they left me laying. They say they didn't need a patriarch, and Nick said I passed my expiration date. And you're right, Shayna. I did have a hard time getting up. I found myself in a lot of holes, but none of them were as deep and as gaping as when I was with you. Like, wow. You had a problem with the things I did. They come from scars of the product of my past. Your actions came from entitlement. You think you won a championship, you got it all figured out, but what happens when you have to answer for the things you've done? I always answer the bells for the things I've said. Nick, Kip, Shayna. And he stopped. He bowed his head in the corner. He says, especially you, Nick. I'm going to stand out here and admit it. You have more talent than I ever did. I cared about you. I protected you from everything. And you have the audacity to call yourself the new face of AEW. You have every tool to be that, but you'll have to go through Christian Cage to get there. In your young life, you already have one dead father. You have another father that's just dead to you. So at this very moment, Nick Wayne, Kip Sabian, I disown you. So we'll get to the post promo, but what do you think about this promo?
I think you are correct in some respects in terms of the pausing to address the hecklers was on purpose. And this promo is I'm gonna use a Hawkinsism here because it's well deserved. It's a little bit too clever by half. What they're trying to do is slowly turn Christian, and we don't want to make him a baby face just yet. And so he's doing the scorpion and the frog tail. I'm always going to be a scorpion. I'm going to sting you. I'm a jerk. I'm an asshole. I do mean things. That's who I am, and I'm unrepentant about it. And he's also doing the supervillain monologue. You know, Adam Copeland, you and I aren't that much different, kind of a thing. He was cheered, and so he came out there to get booed. And it doesn't make sense then with the post beatdown for Tony and Excalibur to call that heinous.
Right.
Because it's deserved.
You
and that's
deserved
the problem.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why they're chanting you deserved it. And it's one of these things where I think this should have been, yes, I'm an asshole and I have a lot of things to think about. I think that should have been the promo. Have the little tinge of, all right, I put my faith in a couple of kids and they weren't ready yet or whatever, instead of the defiant, because he has to be a babyface eventually.
Or Copeland, like maybe they're both going to be tweeners.
That would suck.
It would.
I'm sorry.
Because there's no such thing as a tweener. There really is no such thing as a tweener.
You know
People
what?
talk about tweeners all the time, but there's no such thing.
And this is also kind of going towards that early Nitro. Remember when Sting was a babyface and his tag team partner Lex Luger was a heel?
Yeah. Remember when Cody was a babyface and his tag team partner MJF was a heel?
Yes.
Yeah.
These things never work out.
No.
And it's
isn't MJF isn't Christian doing the exact same thing MJF did, like right before he turned face, like the first time? Kind of
a little bit, but it's one of these things where it's just like, dude, I would have much rather he be angry at the patriarchy than to say he's an asshole. I think that's the thing that's getting me about this promo, is that just you two want to turn on me after everything I've given to you. All right, fine. Your ass is mine. Blah, 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 blah. I'm an asshole. I might be everybody's asshole, but you're my problem now, or whatever. Give the fiery, I'm angry at these guys speech versus the, hey, I haven't really changed. I'm still a heel. I'm just going to be more heelish because these other heels.
Because then you can these people wanted to like Christian. Like they clearly he could have just come out there and cut a babyface promo and the fans would have just ate it up. It would have made no sense, but they would have ate it up because they just want to see Edge and Christian back together. Like that's what everybody wants to see.
Yeah, they dwelled on the wrong part of it. It was the find yourself, and it's like, well, it turns out who I am is an asshole. I found myself.
I'm an asshole. If you like me, great. If you don't, fine. But you're also an asshole.
This is supposed to be about emotional manipulation. It's pro wrestling. If you take me, fine. If you don't, fine. No.
Stone Cold never changed when he became a heel. The only difference is instead of flipping the fans off, he brought his fingers inside when he did
Christian isn't Stone Cold. We can't do that.
No, that's true. But I'm just saying, he never actually changed. If you want this to work, he's got to be true to himself, but he can just be an asshole to those assholes that he raised. And that's how you can get the people behind him.
He can be an asshole with friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
like me.
So so he goes to leave. Shayna stopped him on his way out. He shoved her down, which got a big pop. And then Nick Wayne made the save for his mom, laid him out with the ROH TV title. Then Shayna comes back. She's got two chairs, and I mentioned this earlier. They hit him on both sides of the head, but they didn't come anywhere near his head. And then Nick's screaming at him. He says, "I disown you. I turned my back on you." And the fans are chanting, "Fuck Nick Wayne." And then Excalibur tells us Christian had to be escorted to the back by the medical team, and we'll update you later if anything happens. And he didn't, so I assume Christian died. Rest in peace, Christian.
That one came out of left field.
We'll see if they do a 10-bell salute for him on SmackDown.
Oh my god!
So
he died.
Yeah, he died.
Oh, you went dark all of a sudden, Paul. What happened to this show? Jeez.
Yeah, just in storyline because I mentioned they didn't hit him. So then we go to the back, and Stokely's out there with FTR, and he says FTR walked out of Chicago victorious. They're one step closer to the AEW Tag Team Champs. Adam Copeland, I got you banned from the building tonight for your actions last week. Hurt Syndicate, what you did was an act of cowardice. If FTR was at 100%, they'd have whooped your ass. Bang Bang Gang, where you got us in the tag team semifinals. It's the two of you against the greatest tag team of all time. You're good, but you're not FTR. The Bucks show up. FTR congratulate them on their win. Cash says, let's put or I think it was Dax actually said, we'll put the past behind us. Let's hope to see you in the finals. FTR leaves. And then, but they're left there with Stoke. Stoke says, I got a question for you guys. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. You're not the bosses anymore, are you? And they're like, no. And then he like tries to scare them. He's like, ah! I don't know what the hell he did. Looking at him.
No, the point of this was to drop the crutch to show that it's all a ruse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But then he put the crutch back and limped away.
Yeah, well, but he didn't. But he didn't need the crutch. He was standing on both his feet, pretending like he was going to hit him or whatever. And then he picks up the crutch and doesn't gingerly walk off. It's a sight gag.
They still haven't explained is how Tony Khan. Okay, number one, why is he so stupid that he believes these 3 anonymous emails? Enough to suspend Adam Copeland. And number 2, why did he suspend Adam Copeland for this when he never suspends anybody for anything? Like, it doesn't make any sense, but whatever. People accept it because they love Tony Khan and they love bangers. Speaking of bangers, okay, Jon Moxley and Adam Page. Everyone is banned from ringside. So, overall, I actually like this match more than I like the main event of All In. Just for my own personal taste. Well, I don't like those card I rated the All In match better because it was of the story that they told. But I mean, I just like the wrestling in this match better. It was 2 guys one-on-one for the most part.
I mostly agree. I gotta be honest with you. It became excessiveness at All In.
Yeah, and they went overboard on the, continually going for the finishers and everything, but that's fine. That's what they do. That's modern wrestling. So there's nothing wrong with that. And they, the first 20 minutes was just them just beating the shit out of each other, and it was great. So the fans chanted "fuck you, Moxley" at the beginning. They chanted "you tapped out." We did, and this so Mox gave Hangman a pile driver on the ring steps, and this was the transition spot to go to a commercial. And I mean, they do this all the time, and WWE does it too. TNA, I'm sure, does it. It's stupid as hell, but I just, for whatever reason, I had to point it out here because I mean, really, that would be the spot where you would not cut to commercial. Is this guy alive?
Yes.
And it's like, no, we're going to commercial. We'll come back. If anything happens, we'll let you know. They come back and they're just back in the ring wrestling, right? It's like Mox has a headlock on. They were clearly just wasting the last 3 minutes. And then Hangman makes his comeback. So then they get back into the match. So they did a ton of stuff. Hangman hit a bunch of dead eyes. And then so at one point, Hangman reverses to a dead eye. They're both down. Ref waved off medical staff. Hangman, they pointed out, was bleeding from the back of his head. So they go back in the ring. Hangman landed a lariat. Mox no-sold it. Hangman hit a tombstone for 2. Then he mounted him with ground and pound. Cowboy shit chants. Everyone in the crowd was standing at this point. Mox puts on a bulldog choke. Then he went to a rear naked. The announcers were pointing out that they're using Bryan Danielson moves, which is kind of cool. Hangman put on the STF, speaking of Bryan Danielson, the S-lock. Mox looked like he tapped at one point, but he didn't quite hit the mat. And the ref said he didn't. He made it to the ropes. Mox rakes the back, gave him a pile driver on the ring apron. Hangman rolled out of the ring. They went back in the ring. Mox gave him a Gotch-style pile driver. Actually, for a second, I thought that was going to be the finish, but Mox was just being completely overconfident. Hangman kicked out. They do a slapping battle, and Mox is just no-selling everything. They start trading forearms. Hangman fired up, went for a deadeye. Mox stopped him. Hangman kicked him out of the ring. Then he hit the Ohari moonsault off the top turnbuckle, rolled him back in the ring. Fans are just going nuts. He went for a buckshot. Mox reversed it. Hangman hit a deadeye. Then we get a ref bump. And I'm like, uh-oh. Hangman goes to the outside. All of a sudden, the crowd starts booing. And you see the Death Riders coming in. So the Death Riders start with making their way to the ring. And I didn't point this out, but at the very beginning of the match, they had all these security guards surrounding the ring to make sure that nobody was going to be able to get in. Well, all these security guards converge on Claudio and Wheeler. And while they're trying to make sure they don't get in the ring, Marina grabs the title belt, passed it to Mox. He hit Hangman with the belt. And the ref comes to, and he goes to count 3. And I'd say he kicked out at 2.75. Like, it wasn't even a 2.99. It wasn't even that close of a near fall. And then the security, then they see what happened. So they hauled Marina out of there, and they got all the Death Riders are trying to get them out, and they're making their way towards the back. And all of a sudden, the crowd goes nuts, and you see Darby on the top of a balcony. This fucking nutcase jumps. It had to be 30 feet, like from this top of this balcony onto the Death Riders. They caught him. He got up. He was fine. This is insane. But so eventually they all get out of there. So they're back. It's back to Mox and Hangman. And Mox is just looking, and he's like, he had the same reaction I did. Like, what the hell was that? Like, I think he mouthed it to the camera. Hangman hits a buckshot, then he went for a dead eye. Mox escaped it, put on a choke, went for the Gotch pile driver. Hangman reversed, hit the dead eye, then he hit another buckshot, and he got the win. So, like I said, I loved it. I would have given this 5 stars if they would not have announced, no, everyone's banned from ringside. If it would have just, I had no problem with the interference. I thought it made for a better match.
You thought it was a perfect match?
I love the match, dude. I really, really like this match. Okay. Because here's the reason why. At All In, the story was Hangman needed help from everyone to combat the Death Riders. So you had Bryan Danielson, you had Dart, you had everyone come out. Everyone and their mom came out to help him. And it wasn't like they cheated. Like they were there to thwart what the Death Riders were doing. And other heels, the Bucks, Okada, like there were other heels involved. In this case, it was Hangman by himself. All Darby did was dive on the Death Riders. Like, that didn't affect the match at all. They were already on their way out of the building. Hangman overcame everything on his own and beat Mox one-on-one, man-to-man. That's why I love this match.
Would you be insulted if I said I thought for the first 10 minutes or so it was a Dean Ambrose match?
No, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay. This was one of my pet peeves in terms of certain things. The only time this has worked is when I did this in a fantasy wrestling federation once, and I wrote about this, and it was still stupid overall. I hate stipulations where the point is to get around the stipulation.
Oh,
I hate it.
Too. Me too.
I mean, the only time I ever did, bunch of teams were having a tables match, and I had my team come down there and steal all the tables so the match couldn't. But they do this like WWE when they do their cage match, and everybody comes in, or they escape the cage to climb up to the top of it to do some stunts or whatever. It was one of those things where it was, it's like, okay, there's gonna be no interference, and then there's interference. There has to be consequences for that. And if there's not, then there's no use for it. If it's just a story plot point, then what's the point of having the stipulation?
Exactly.
That drove me nuts. I'm sorry, but no, I liked the match a lot. Don't get me wrong. It was just when you said 5 stars, all right, that it wasn't.
Well, I gave it 4 3/4. So like I would have given it 5 if they hadn't have advertised and gone against their own stip. And the thing is, I don't even see the point of advertising everyone is banned from ringside and then just doing this, because and I'll put over Ryan Pike. He mentioned this in the Discord. If you're just going to break the stip, then I'm going to go back to saying, well, people are banned from ringside in every match. It's called a DQ. Like if Marina interferes, it's a DQ. This was what I always said about the Continental Classic. It was like, okay, we had these Continental matches where everyone is banned and no seconds allowed. I said, well, what happens if someone actually does interfere? And I was told, oh, well, they get fired. And I don't recall them ever actually saying that, but apparently maybe it was said in a press conference.
I think, Tony said in one of the scrums or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the point is, like you said, there better be consequences here. Otherwise, the next time he says everyone's banned, I'm not buying it, because now we had a Continental title match at All In where we know nobody can interfere and no seconds are allowed. And when Tony was asked about it at the press conference after, he's like, oh, well, no, because this was also for the international title, we had a different rule set. But now that both titles are going to be defended every time, we're going back to the original one. I think what happened is whoever put this match together didn't even know the rules, and they put this match together. And Tony was so worried about everything else that it didn't dawn on him until he actually watched it happen. Oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as I saw Kota Ibushi out there as a second, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Like, like
Tony hating DQs is a problem. Like, I don't want the WWE where everything was a DQ at one point.
Yeah.
And it became just, but
well, you couldn't have a DQ in this match. You couldn't.
It should have been a DQ.
Well, no, because the ref,
if you tell your referees to do it as but he saw the interference.
Did he? I don't think he did.
He saw Marina at ringside. That's enough.
Well, he saw Marina at ringside. He definitely did. No, he was out because they had the ref bump first.
You're right, but everybody's banned from ringside. There's
Tony Khan saw it. Tony Khan could have stopped the match.
Yeah, you need to you need to enforce the rules of the world that you're in.
Or just don't do it. This match would have been better if they wouldn't have said everyone is banned from ringside. Or if he would have just said to Mox, keep your boys in the back and your girl. I'll keep my friends in the back. And
you know what they're trying to get around? I realize what they're trying to get around. They're trying to get around stupid babyface syndrome.
Right.
Is what they're trying to get
around. So
what
if he does that and then Mox breaks? It's not the company, it's Mox himself. Mox promises, no, the Death Riders will be in the back, and then they come out anyways. Now the heat's on Mox. It's not on the company. Right? You can do that. And then it's because if I remember right, WWE did this. It was the build to Cody and Roman. Remember they had the thing where they both said nobody will come out.
Yeah, they're on the football field or whatever, and they say that we're not.
Yeah. And then they did the face-to-face in the ring, and the Bloodline came out. And then Cody immediately had his own friends there. He's like, I knew you were going to do this. So my friends are here too. So you can do that, and then Hangman had Darby. But Daniel, where's Chris Danielson doing? Christopher Danielson. He's managing some team that's never going to be on TV anymore. Skyflight or whatever they're called. Stupid. Mox breaking the agreement would have been a better story. Thank you, Jason.
I just love the portmanteau of Christopher Daniels and Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, Christopher Danielson. Yeah, not to mention why weren't they punished for Colt Cabana? So I agree with transferring heat. By the way, Death Riders need to be suspended for breaking that stip. If they do suspend them, I will have 10% more faith in Stips. But the fact is they still broke them. I guaranteed you that they would not break the stip. I did the same thing with Garrett on Takedown. And stupid Paul. Yeah.
Fool.
And you actually said, oh, who's going to interfere? And I'm like, nobody. They're not going to interfere. No way. No how.
Smart.
Dumb me.
Brains.
We got a great video package for the TNT title match tomorrow on Collision. It's Dustin Rhodes and Kyle Fletcher in a Chicago street fight. And it was awesome. Like they recapped everything that happened and everything at All In and since All In. It was awesome. More of this, please. Then we got a tag team match. And if you tuned in late and you missed the Bucks match, or if you turned off the show after the first hour and you missed this match, they were the exact same match. And it was Toni Storm and Alex Windsor against Athena and Billie. I mean, not exactly the same. They have different things that they do. I don't recall the Bucks waltzing at one point in the middle of the match into the corner, into a move, the little things for their character. But the layout of the match was exactly the same. You had the two heels cutting off the heat and the babyface desperately trying to make a comeback. You even had the spot where I think it was it was Billie pulled Toni off the apron. So it was exactly the same, literally exactly the same. And then you had Toni making a comeback, and it was a great comeback. And then she hit her sweet cheek music, was about to hit Storm Zero, and then Athena had made a blind tag, so that was one difference. And so while she's about to hit the Storm Zero on Billie, Athena comes in from out of nowhere and hits the O-face and gets the pin. And it's funny because someone in the Discord was like, "Oh man, bold booking, having Toni Storm take the pin. And Jason, I'll put him over, proudly points out that's basic booking.
Yes.
And not only that, look back over every single feud that Toni's had since she's had this title, and I guarantee you there's been a tag match about a week or two before the title match where she's taken a pin against the person that she's going to be facing. This is not the first time. It's not the second time. It's not the third time. This has happened numerous times, and I'm not complaining. Like it's perfect booking. It shows Toni's vulnerable, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. The only
Megan Bain beat her.
Yeah,
I believe Stat might have beat her.
Mariah May definitely beat her.
Mariah May beat her.
Yeah,
I think Mercedes beat her.
I think Jamie Hayter beat her.
Yeah,
this is and a million baby faces have lost to the heel in a tag match to set up the title match. I guess basic booking is bold for TK. Good line, Jason. That nothing wrong with that at all. Maria's late to the chat. Hi, Maria. Hopefully you liked the first hour. It was awesome.
I think my only problem here is I want Toni Storm to take the match seriously, even if her character isn't all that serious. And it was just watching her like doing the Mongolian chops.
She did the Mongolian chops, and then there was some other old school thing she did right after that. I did have the Mongolian chops in my thing. Did you catch Aubrey giving them the time cue for the commercial?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think being weird for weird sake.
Oh, she did the Thez press right after the Mongolian chops. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want her to be weird for weird sake. She's just in this thing, and instead she's kind of playing to the crowd a little bit, even during the match, and not taking Athena and Billie seriously as a threat, which I think she should take each person coming in as a threat, as opposed to because she's gonna cut that promo where she dismisses Athena.
Yeah.
We know that, and it's not going to do anything for Athena. I thought Athena looked really good here too.
She'll probably do some promo about how she's used to being on her back and all this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Jason, I was going to bring this up actually, and I forgot, so I'm glad he made the point here because he also mentioned this in the Discord. Why didn't Athena try to cash in after the match? Yeah, the thing is, like, it's not even real clear whether you can just cash in.
Right.
I think you can. But I don't know why she didn't. I guess maybe because she's the Ring of Honor champion, she has some honor. I don't know.
Well, because it's 2-on-2 out there. That's why. Because,
that's true. Yeah,
because Alex Windsor would still be there to help. I mean, she almost cashed it in. She almost cashed it in during the 2-on-1 beatdown last week. Which,
you know who Alex Windsor reminds me of? It hit me while I was watching this match. A little bit of Lyra Valkyria, like just the look and the wrestling a little bit. Like, as far as promos, I'm not sure. I've not heard Alex Windsor much, and she's hit and miss.
Very much so.
Yeah. When she's in there with somebody and going back and forth, she's good. But when she has to talk to the camera or to the audience, she's not good at all. That's Lyra. I don't know about Alex. Then we got Renee with Hangman. And before Hangman can say anything, MJF shows up and he says, "Congratulations, Seabiscuit." And he says, You're the hero. You think you're the hero, but heroes don't stab people in the face with forks. Said, "Last week you did something wrong, Hangman. You called me a coward." Well, I think you're the coward. You refuse to face me unless I do it on my own terms or unless I cash this contract. I remember the days of us having a real fighting champion, a real man, Swerve Strickland. And he just preens because he thinks he's gotten to the hanger. And Hangman just looks at him and he says, "You think you're going to goad me into a title match by saying his name now? You have to earn it or you're going to have to use that contract. And if you want a shot at this championship, you're going to have to beat someone that really deserves a shot, and you're going to have to fight Mark Briscoe." And then MJF had a great line. He's like, "Yeah, just a bunch of hicks from the sticks sticking together." And Hangman says, "I don't see the Hurt Syndicate here, so I don't see what's stopping me from beating your ass right now." And MJF leaves, and then there's this long pause with him and Renee, and then he just says, "Coward."
I thought he was going to go into a promo.
I thought he was going to cut a promo on Renee. I thought he was going to cut a promo on Renee about Mox. For whatever reason.
I don't know if you're going to agree with me on this.
Okay.
But I think Hangman needs promo time to establish himself more as the champion. And I really don't like this trope of Hangman starts a promo and then MJF or somebody else comes in and interrupts 5 seconds in. I don't think it helps Hangman. I think you can have you could possibly do a second segment with Hangman has some more comments and then do the MJF cutting him off, possibly. But I think Hangman needs, on this second title reign, he needs to establish himself as the alpha in the company.
Well, we got that good one.
No, he had the one right after it. Yes, he did. Okay, but I mean, every week.
We need more. Yeah, we need. Yeah.
Yes, it needs to be. It needs to be a consistent thing to make him the guy, as opposed to just the guy with the belt. To me,
maybe even have him on commentary next week for the Briscoe match.
No. I don't want that at all.
Oh, okay.
I hate that's just a me thing. I'm tired.
Right.
I'm tired of third wheels or like fourth and fifth wheels on commentary.
Fernando thinks FTR and Wardlaw are getting back together with MJF. You brought that up last week. I think they're going a different way, and
I didn't.
I'm going to wait till the main event segment. I thought you did.
No, other people are saying that.
Remember our discussion about how they won't work together anymore ever and all that?
Well, no, I brought that up in the vein of they broke up the Pinnacle too early in terms of who was speaking or whatever. I never said they were. No, other people in the chat were saying that. And I think I thought it was you that was saying, "Oh, this is going to be a way to get FTR and MJF back together again." I was just like, "No, I don't."
No, I definitely didn't say that because I think I poo-pooed that, but maybe it was somebody in the chat.
I poo-pooed it because I don't think Wardlow is going to be back on screen anytime soon because of the American Gladiator stuff, and I think FTR and Stokely are fine as a unit. I don't think they.
I think they're going a different direction, and I will talk about it after the main event segment. Jason admits it was him. Okay, great. So we established that.
No, I think the Hurt Syndicate or Hurt Business get together and become stronger until MJF wins the title, and then it becomes a piece of friction with Bob.
Well, I think I know where they're going with what's happening. So, okay, I'll just mention it now. So skip ahead to the main event. We'll recap it. And I love that post-match segment after the main event. But essentially next week we're going to get MJF and Mark Briscoe, and I don't know if they're wrestling for a title shot or if the idea is MJF just has to beat Mark Briscoe to get the title shot. I'm not sure which. I think it's the latter, but I'm not positive. But regardless, I think what's going to happen is the Hurt Syndicate is going to reappear, and they're going to get involved in that match, and they're going to help MJF beat Briscoe.
Mm-hmm.
And then at Forbidden Door, it's going to be MJF against Hangman for the title. And that's where we're going to see the return of Mystico. And Mystico is going to fuck over MJF. And then that'll lead to MJF and Mystico at Arena Mexico in whatever they're going to do. Probably title versus mask. Because MJF has got a title match in CMLL this week. I don't know if you knew that. He's wrestling Averno for some belt. And he'll probably be a champion in Mexico after this weekend. So I think that's
I'll do you one better. He's gonna get the title match against Hangman, but it's not gonna be the cash in of the contract.
No. It's just gonna be a straight title match.
Right, and he's gonna get screwed over.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna cash in during the Bobby Lashley versus Hangman match.
Oh, maybe like later in the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could happen. But I do think that everyone, like people that are thinking it's FTR and MJF back together. No, it's going to be the Hurt Syndicate back together.
Right.
Like, they're not really broken up. Like they're just wanting.
Yeah, no, it's a total swerve.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see MJF and Bobby Lashley, high-fiving each other and hugging, and then occasionally Bobby Lashley's gonna throw him a look.
Yeah. And he threw him a look at one point when he said he was the greatest, and Bobby was, wait a second, I'm right here. Mm-hmm. It was interesting that Hangman is not buying that the Hurt Syndicate are broken up. He's like, I don't see the Hurt Syndicate here. So either he doesn't watch the show or he knows this is a swerve. So I like it if he actually is watching and just doesn't believe it. That would be better. He's a smart babyface, but
yes, I'm here for smart baby faces.
Yeah. Then we got some chick interviewing Willow. I have no idea who she was.
I believe this was Alicia Attell.
Oh, was it? Okay, I don't know.
Yes.
Anyway, she says last week you challenged Tekla, and
Some
Willow cuts this bizarre promo.
When you said the worst segment in
you thought I was
AEW
talking
history,
about this?
I thought you were talking about the Willow promo because
I love this. I mean, this
did
would
you?
not have worked with anyone else, but for
No,
Willow,
it
for some reason, it worked.
I don't
She's
know
like,
if it worked, but okay.
last week I shot my shot. I challenged her, but she ignored me, and then she made some new friends, and then Alicia interrupts her, and she's like, "Oh, you mean the Triangle of Madness?" And it's like, yeah, everyone's got shapes. She's a triangle. I'm the trapezoid. I'm the trapezoid of grapazoid. And then she's like, but she still hasn't answered me, and I don't want to leave Chicago without a fight. So I went over her head and I knocked on old Tony Khan's door, and he looks at me. He says, "Damn, girl. You want to get all crazy, girl?" And I'm like, damn straight, dude, because that's 100% how matches are made around here. This is like the most real thing I've ever heard. I can totally picture, damn, girl. Tony Khan. So, anyways, next week, tomorrow, I'm going to kick your spider ass and rip off every single one of those 8 legs. And then Excalibur says immediately, it's official. Willow and Tekla one-on-one. So yeah, this was bizarre, but I loved it. I don't know.
I love Tekla so much. I wish he was not saddled with Sky Blue and Julia Hart.
Yeah. But so you didn't like it? You thought this promo was bad?
It's fine for the character, but Willow's been this character for far too long. It's a little bit like Side Pony Bailey in a way.
Okay. Yeah.
Where it's like we're waiting for it to kind of evolve a little bit, and it doesn't. And just
like she's had occasional moments where she's gotten serious. She throws down the straps like Jerry Lawler.
Yes. It was a little too cutesy for me, but I mean, I understand people liked it.
Okay, fair enough. We got so main event time. Ricochet and Mark Briscoe. So they showed highlights from their ambulance match at Revolution during the entrances. Okay, that's great. They plugged World Ends coming to Chicago on December 27th. Tickets will go on sale September 4th. So they're back in Chicago for another pay-per-view, which makes me think that Thanksgiving Eve Dynamite that they always do from Chicago is probably going to be somewhere else this year, which is fine. Our friend Brad pointed out there's a lot of that's kind of the theme this year is that a lot of the traditions have been broken. Like they're moving to different areas for shows that they normally do in specific places. So they wrestle for, a few minutes, and then Gates of Agony show up and they help Ricochet get the advantage. So they go to commercial, they come back. Ricochet tried to use a chair, but the ref stopped him. And then that allowed Briscoe to take control. And while he's mixing it up with the Gates of Agony, there's this comedy spot where the ref is trying to get Ricochet out of the way, and he's accidentally rubbing his head for like 30 seconds. It was really goofy, but fans loved it. So what do I care? Ricochet hit a springboard, then a standing shooting star press for 2. They ran down Collision. So we got Gates of Agony against Brodito, which is Brody King and Bandito in the last quarterfinal match. Then we got FTR and the Bang Bang Gang in a semifinal match. Willow and Tekla, and also Stat in action, and Dustin and Kyle in a street fight for the TNT title.
Should be a pretty good show.
It looks great. Like for Collision, I mean, that's like a Dynamite lineup. So yeah, it's pretty good. And it's tomorrow night, so I will definitely watch it. Briscoe kicked Bishop Khan while he was aiming for Ricochet. Then he punched Ricochet out of the ring, did the diving somersault off the chair. Toa Leone was on the apron trying to distract. He went for the J Driller, but Ricochet dropped to a knee. Mark dropped him with a short clothesline. Then he went up for Froggy Bow. Khan distracted the ref, so Toa knocked Mark off the top rope. Ricochet at Vertigo, got a near fall. Gates of Agony, both on the apron again. The ref's trying to get them out. He never threw them out. And then finally, Brodito shows up. So the ref won't do his job. So Brodito has to do it for him. And they attack them and get them out of there. So now we're back to just Ricochet and Briscoe. Briscoe rolled up Ricochet for a near fall out of nowhere. And the fans actually bought that one. Ricochet hit him with a knee, then an enziguri. Briscoe went for the J Driller. Rick reversed it, hit another enziguri. Briscoe hit a lariat and vicious lariat and a J Driller, and he got the win. So yeah, great match. I mean, all the matches tonight were awesome. Like I thought.
Fun little thing during one of the commercial breaks was Ricochet breakdancing in the ring while Mark was in the corner.
Oh, nice. I missed that because I skipped it.
Yeah, it's odd because you're expecting Ricochet to get some kind of push out of this, and it doesn't feel like he is. But they also tipped the hand on this, and I'm still angry about that because I thought there was a chance. Okay, maybe Ricochet wins this one, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope. We're gonna have Mark Briscoe and MJF next week. Okay.
He's Chad Gable. Like that's exactly what he is.
Yes.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. He's happy where he is. He's getting paid a lot of money. There's nothing wrong
I have no problem with that. It was just
that's not an insult. I love Chad Gable.
I just groaned because I knew the Gates of Agony are coming out to interfere, and nobody threw him out of the ring because we have to have the spot for the tag match tomorrow. Okay, fine.
You know what? In a perfect fantasy world where I could make one trade and have like people like matched up from different companies, I would add Naomi to that group with Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. That would be like the best stable in history. I don't care which company it was in. Like Naomi and Ricochet together on the same team would be gold. Like,
okay.
Yeah. When she did that line, I think it was last week on Raw because I'm like behind on all the WWE stuff, and she's like talking about I'm gonna keep that title and I'm gonna face you at the Clash in Paris. Wee. She walks away. I was dying. I was like, so she's on like
this is her best run of her career. I think
she's on something, but regardless, she's on adrenaline anyways. Anyways, back to AEW. Mark Briscoe,
I love Mark Briscoe. He's so great. Love him.
He cuts a post-match promo, and he's like 90% Jay in this promo. Like there's like 10% Mark in there. Ladies and gentlemen, we just getting started tonight. I'm not going to do the thing. MJF, you brought up my brother's name one time. Shame on me, but you brought it up again. Well, that's shame. Or one time, shame on you. You brought it up again. That's shame on me. Shame on me because I didn't obliterate your ass. Man, I tell you, man, I never felt like this before, man. I need help, man. I need help, man. He's pacing around the ring. He's reaching out to the crowd. I never felt like this. For the first time, I feel like I may never see my brother again. Because I know he's up there chilling in that mansion. But MJF, and I knew exactly where he was going, and you did too, because you're a man of God. MJF, if I kill your ass in cold blood, and I won't repent, because I won't repent, because not a single cell in my body feels even the slightest bit of remorse. I'm worried, man. I'm worried. So MJF, do me a favor, man. Make my day. Make it right now. Right now. Right now. Let's do this right now. Me and you. Oh my God. I'm like, I don't care. Have an hour overrun. Let's get these two in the ring right now. Let's go. I was fired up. I wanted to see this match. MJF's music hits, and they wait, and they wait, and they focus on the screen, and they focus on the stage, and nobody's out there. And they keep going back to Mark in the ring, and I'm waiting for MJF to jump from behind.
And then he pulls a Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
Hey, up here.
Yeah, he's on the screen. Hey, up here, Mark, up here. You think I was going to come out there? No, I'm not a bumpkin. I'm not an idiot. Mascot Mark, I see you drop the comedy routine. You sound all serious, but I don't have to take you seriously. You've been calling me out week in and week out. I think you're wasting your time. But Seabiscuit said I'm too cowardly to wrestle you in the ring. So that pissed me off. So I went and I spoke to that Mark, Tony Khan. And next week, it'll be the Toothless Wonder, Mark Briscoe, versus the generational talent, MJF. And while he's staring at the screen watching the promo, MJF comes in from behind. And this was great because I don't even think the fans saw it. Like normally you'll hear a reaction and MJF comes out and he was wearing like a black t-shirt. So he didn't look exactly like he always does. And he came in from behind and he nailed Mark Briscoe in the balls. And he takes off his jacket and he's got this MJF did nothing wrong shirt on. Where's that from? You're a historian. Who had that did nothing wrong thing on before? This has been done in the past.
I want to say it was either Piper or Greg Valentine or somebody like that. It was somebody
might
from
have
the
been Piper. Might have been Piper. That sounds right. And then he grabs a mic and he says, "Who's a coward now? What about now, Hangman? Who's the coward now, Hangman?" He beats on Briscoe with the mic, and then he says, "You know, they'd eat this up if it were you, cowboy." And he says, "You wanted this, Mark? You wanted this?" And he goes to put on his ring, and that's when Hangman's music hits. And Hangman comes out with the belt. He went for the buckshot. MJF escapes the buckshot, but runs right into a J driller. And Briscoe's about to hit him with it, but MJF gets away, and he bolted up the stage like as fast as a human being has ever run to get away from them. And he stops at the top of the stage, and he's like going back and forth with them, like mean mugging. So yeah, I mean, this was hot for next week, and I outlined what I think is going to happen next week. And yeah, I hope that happens. If it's a swerve and the Hurt Syndicate works, it makes perfect sense. I'd love it. I want to see it. It would suck for Briscoe, but I think he's going to get his day. I think there's something coming good for Mark Briscoe. I just don't think it's right this second.
I'm wondering what they're doing here, because I'm wondering if they're trying to do like the Stone Cold Mick Foley dynamic with them. Yeah. But I don't want.
So Hangman is Stone Cold, MJF for Rock, and Briscoe is Foley. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't want Mark. I don't want Mark Briscoe to get that ceremonial. Oh, he got a 3-day title reign type thing. There's a possibility you're right on. He's turning more and more into Jay, and this might be leading to an actual heel turn down the road. Where he gets consumed by being so angry and stuff, and then like Hangman's kind of condescending in a way.
And then we get to see an actual feud between those two.
Kind of like you remember like the Pez Watley turn on Jimmy Valiant type of thing.
I've heard about it, but I didn't actually see it.
Okay, so basically like they're friends and stuff, and he's like And Valiant says he's the best black athlete there is, and Shaska and he gets mad at that. No, I'm the best athlete there is. He just starts beating him up. I'm thinking like there's a turn coming like that. This T-shirt, by the way, is 4 months old, so it had to be something. There was another angle with MJF where he wore the shirt or something to that effect, possibly. But
you know what they could do with this? It could be okay. He loses here, but then later in the year. They always do that dynamite battle royal for the ring. And MJF wins it every year. And when he brought out the ring here and he was about to hit Hangman with it, it clicked. I think maybe this year Briscoe wins the ring.
Okay.
And then he gets a title shot off of that. And the title shot is with MJF, who by this point is cashed in on Hangman. And who knows, maybe even beats MJF for the title. You could do that. And you could be like maybe not like a 3-day reign like Foley, but 3 months. You could do 3 months.
Yeah, just don't do the Foley thing where other people interfere on his behalf. Just win type of a thing. Have Mark Briscoe get the win,
or you could even have Hangman like MJF, like cashes in the contract, beats Hangman. And then have it be he's the one that gets like the 1 day or 1 week title reign, because the next week he has to defend against Briscoe and Briscoe beats him.
Okay.
You could do that. Like, I do think Briscoe, I'm starting to warm to the idea of him getting the title. But yeah, and something involving like the spirit of his brother, maybe, like could be part of that as well. So I don't know. I've been talking about this for a while, and I just feel like it's coming, and I don't even think they're hiding it at this point. Like he's mentioning it, and so yeah, I love the bit about like as soon as he started talking about I'm never going to see my brother again. I was like, oh, I get it. I know what he's talking.
To hell.
I'm going to hell. Yeah, because I'm going to murder a man. It's like so perfect. I loved, I didn't even I was annoyed because then I had to go start the show and I looked at the clock and it's like, I got to get going, but I wouldn't have taken away. Now I just hope people stuck around and watched that stuff, because it was awesome. Like that is the kind of build that I love. Like I want to see this MJF Briscoe match like I was really fired up for Hangman and Mox. I'm not gonna lie, just because they had such a great match at All In, and I knew that this match would be more of like the wrestling that I like. So I was more like looking forward to this, but not far behind is this match next week. Like I have so many ideas of what they can do, and I like the one I presented, but there's other ways they can go, and I think no matter what they do, it's gonna be great. And they're set up for, we're gonna have FTR and the Bucks, and we got Forbidden Door in a month. So as long as they don't put a death match on that show, I'm gonna be really happy about it. If they put a death match on the show, I'll skip it. But yeah, so that's it. Anything else to add, or you want to do your plugs?
I want to do my plugs.
Okay, do your plugs.
You can follow me at CrapGame13 on X. I do a show called Shake Them Ropes. You can follow that at Shake Them Ropes. This week, SummerSlam, the preview. I'm going to ask Chris, does he think that it's now the 5th of the big 5 pay-per-views? I think it is. There are others who say no. I'm wrong on that, but we'll see about that. Plus, Vince McMahon can't drive. Be talking about that as well. And this week, Invader Club, a fun one from Worldwide Wrestling. Dusty Rhodes and Ron Garvin versus Ric Flair and Arn Anderson.
Oh, wow.
That crowd was white hot. I loved it. There's a lot of joy in this one. It may not be the best worked match in this, but it has a lot of things that go against tropes that I hate, like smart baby faces and also, hey, somebody pins the champ or somebody beats the champ, so that sets up a title match eventually. It has good things too in there, and the crowd again white hot, but that'll drop sometime later this week. Hopefully not right before SummerSlam, so we can get the preview in, but that depends on what Nove's schedule is.
Okay, everybody, you got about a 7-second notice for me popping Jeff. You know what I thought when I heard about the Vince limo stuff? Maybe the limo driver actually did deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. For me, I don't have much, just the takedown. I do it with Garrett Gonzalez. Which we returned this week, and we'll be back probably talking about SummerSlam, although I won't have watched it. I'm still like a week behind, so there's no chance I'm watching SummerSlam this weekend. But I'll probably have some thoughts on it anyways. And then we'll be back next week to talk about Mark Briscoe and MJF. I can't wait. So for Jeff Hawkins, I'm Paul Fontaine, and this has been the Dynamite Show.